excited about it. Okay, so let me. Okay, then. So this is so you can see for this LXP 10 kilowatt hybrid inverter, it is a single unit, but it's very powerful to handle with all applications. And the first one is a very typical hybrid system. You can have solar, you can have battery and a grid, and this is a complete system. However, our unit not only work with, we can work with all others, and like in off-grid mode, it's like where the house do not have grid, or for some users, even if they have grid, they do not want to have any power flow from the unit, from the grid, so they can use the system as off-grid mode. And also we have AC coupling, which is a new function we promote in this product. And it is very good because for some customer, they already installed. Can you see my pen here? Okay, so for some home, they already installed the solar in their house. However, now since they cannot get much cost money from the grid, or they can, and there is still load shedding, so they do not want to feed any power into the grid. In this situation, they can add a hybrid inverter here. And the advantage of our hybrid inverter is that even if the grid is down, the on-grid inverter can still work. So you can have very big power for your home. And later I will introduce this AC coupling function to you. And also our inverter can work as a pure on-grid system. If you do not want to buy a battery now, and you think because maybe the battery may have the lower cost, so you want to wait some time to add the battery in the system, so you can just install the solar, the grid, and our inverter can still work. And also for all products from Luxpower, we support paralleling function. For this unit, we support single phase and 3-phase paralleling, and we test 6 units in our lab. So at the site, you can install 6 units, which is 60 kilowatt, and it's a very big power. And not only for home, but also can work for a small commercial. Okay. Sorry. Okay, see, this is the parameter of the LXP 10 kilowatt. So for this 10 kilowatt unit, the EPS backup power is 10 kilowatt, which means we can discharge from the battery with very big current, which is 210 amps from the battery. At the PV side, you can install 15 kilowatt solar. So if you install 15 kilowatt solar, it can charge battery and take load at the same time. For example, if you have 15 kilowatt solar input and you have 10 kilowatt load, so the extra 5 kilowatt can be charged to the battery, and it's very flexible solution for very big power. And then we have, for this unit, we also have a separate GEM port. The current for the port is 15 amps, which means that you can use the 15 amps to charge the battery and to take load. And so the total power is 13 kilowatt for totally charge battery and take load. And also for this unit, we have a touchscreen. It is color touchscreen, and it's very easy for you to set everything on the LCD. Okay, so there are the functions for this unit, which is our main topic today. First, I will introduce you the working modes for this unit, which is very important for you because for different situation and application, you may have let the unit work in different modes. And we have the separate generator input. So I will explain some how to use it. And this AC coupling function I just mentioned is new for you, and which is to retrofit on grid tie inverter to make the whole system bigger. And the smart load function is to handle with big load when the sunshine or the battery is low. So you keep the power in the battery for more important load. And also parallel function, and then handle with battery easily for this unit. And also other Luxpower unit in future, we will have more detailed battery information on our app and the web. Then it's very easily for installer to see everything at the, by the app. And of course, this is for some battery, for example, for Hina batteries, and you can get more detailed information. And in future, we will have a very excited solution for the load shedding protection. We will release this function soon. And also later, I want to discuss with you too about the load shedding protection and one key fast charge function, because for customers, they may have different applications and meet different situations. For example, there are some raining days and the solar is not enough, so you may need to use AC to charge. However, it's not convenient to enable AC charge every time to set the time, to set the power. So we also want to release one key fast charge function to you, and later we can discuss. So we can go to the first part. So first I will introduce the working modes. For when you get the inverter, if you do not set anything, in default mode, it will be self-consumption mode. The idea for this mode is to independent from the grid as much as we can. It's like this. For example, there is solar, battery, and the grid are complete hybrid system. So if there is solar power, the solar power will be used to take the load. And if there is extra solar power will be used to charge the battery. If there's still more, it will be used to export to grid. So the priority of solar power usage is like the load is first priority, and second is battery, the third is grid. So in order to use as less as we can the grid power, the solar is not enough, we will discharge from the battery to take the load. Until there is no solar, there is no battery, the system will use the grid power. So it is a way to save the cost. If the power is power cost is very high, you can use the solar power to take your home load. If your solar is you have many solar panels and the battery capacity is very big. So actually for some of our customers, we will switch this system to off-grid, and they are totally independent from the grid. So in this, you have to make sure your battery is very big capacity to satisfy your home demands. Also, we have a video for the most introduction in our YouTube. You can visit our YouTube channel if you want to get some more, or if you sometimes you may forget, you can check our YouTube channel. This is the default mode. However, you know that in some applications, our purpose, especially in South Africa, what you want is be ready for load shedding, because we have load shedding every day, and we want our battery full when there is load shedding to keep our loads running. So in this situation, you can enable charge first. So for charge first mode, the solar will be used to charge the battery first. And if there is extra power, the extra power will be used to take the load. And there is extra, it will feed into the grid. So the priority change. The first priority is to charge battery. You can enable this, do these settings in our LCD, and it's very convenient. As I mentioned that, although we have this charge first mode, but sometimes there are raining days for weeks, and so in this situation, if you still want to be ready for the load shedding, you have to use AC charge to charge your battery. And so you can use AC charge to urgently charge your battery. You can set the enable AC charge here, and set AC charge time, AC charge power, and stop AC charge SOC. So in this situation, you can use the AC to charge the battery. And please also notice that both in AC charge mode and the first charge mode, charge first mode, if there is a time, during this time, we will not discharge the battery, because we think if you enable charge priority, first charge, or if you enable AC charge during this time, which means you want to keep your battery to your SOC setting. So during this time, battery will be kept there, even though maybe the solar already, for example, here, you set charge first SOC to 80%. And now the battery SOC is 80. So the system will use the solar power to take the load first. However, if the solar power is not enough to take the load, for example, the load is 1 kilowatt, however, there is only 500 volts from the solar, and they will use the grid to compensate the load and will not discharge from the battery. So during the charge first time and the AC charge time, battery will not be discharged to keep the battery at a certain level. And also we have the forced discharge function, which you also can set in the LCD. And for this function, we suggest you to use to test, because when we finish our installation at the site, we need to make sure everything is okay. So maybe we want to test the charge discharge function. However, maybe the load is not enough to let you to discharge. For example, the solar is already can satisfy the demands of the load. So in this situation, if you want discharge from the battery, you can set forced discharge, and then you can see if the system can discharge normally. So this is like you can, before you leave the site, after installation, you can also use AC charge function, forced discharge function to test if everything in the system is okay. And so it's very flexible for our unit to run in these situations. So these are the working modes for our LXP 10 kilowatt. It's very similar to our LXP 5 kilowatt. Let's see if you have any questions for this part. We can have a short break. So let me check if you have any questions for this. So I see. Okay, three-phase paralleling. Yes, we have a document for to present how to parallel the system in three-phase. And also for three-phase, we need to have one inverter in each phase. And however, you can have maybe one inverter in R phase and two inverters in S phase and three inverters in T phase. So you do not need to install same quantity for each phase, but for each phase you have to have at least one inverter. Yes, you can. We can use RCT to test the power, and you can set zero export to avoid fading into grid. How do you set up the charging time on the long time X? So I don't understand this question. How do you set the charging time on the XP long time X to time Y if it reaches this state of charge? Maybe you can describe your question, and we can respond later. I don't understand this question. You can type and I will reply later. So let's after the working modes, we can go to the next part. Separate generator input and smart generator control. You can see this is a brief picture for the interface. We have APS output here, we have grid here, and we have a separate generator here. And for this generator, we are able to remote start and stop. There will be a COM board here with NC and NO port. And also, if you have ever used LXP 5 kilowatt before, if you want to start a generator, you need to buy a generator start box. However, for the 10 kilowatt, we do not have to. You can connect this 2 pin to the generator directly. So it's very easy for you to control the generator. And also, as I mentioned, the current from the generator port cannot exceed 50 amps. And the 50 amps can be used if you turn on the generator, and the generator will take the load and charge the battery. However, the total power will be 13 kilowatts. So just to make sure you do not take too much load when you are using the generator to avoid the overload. And this is the generate setting. If you choose, first you need to choose what you want to control based on SOC, battery SOC or battery voltage. And then you go to the general charge generator page. You can see here, there is, for example, if you want to start the generator by voltage, then you choose voltage here, and then you can choose start voltage and end voltage. So the generator will start only when there is no utility and the battery go to the setting level, or sometimes if the battery is very low, it will send a request for charge. Then the unit will use the dry contact to start the generator and charge the battery. So then the battery voltage goes high, and then if the battery are able to discharge, and also the voltage are higher than the stop voltage, the inverter will stop the generator also by the dry contact. So it's very clear that you have you can connect a generator here. You have 15 amps maximum input, and you can remote control. You can set the generator parameters on the LCD. And the next function is AC coupling function. This is AC coupling system. Like before, you have installed a grid tie inverter here. So before you have a grid tie inverter here, and you want to retrofit your on-grid inverter to a storage inverter, then you add a LXP 8 to 10 kilowatt inverter here. Please notice you have to, if you want to have more function, a powerful function, you need to connect the on-grid AC cable to our generator port. Then enable the AC coupling in our LCD. Then our inverter will consider the on-grid inverter and our inverter as a whole system. For example, before you have, wait a minute. So you have a grid here, load here. For example, your load, sorry. Okay. For example, you have a, you have a 5 kilowatt load here, and your grid tie inverter is generated 10 kilowatt. So there is extra 5 kilowatt. And this inverter is also, you have 5 kilowatt panel here. So there are extra 10 kilowatt. Then we will, if there is, we will have a CT here, right? We will detect, oh, there are totally 10 kilowatt power export to the grid. So we will use our hybrid inverter to charge the battery at 10 kilowatt. So what I want to say is that the hybrid inverter not only can use the solar panel, connect to it to charge the battery, it can also use the power from the which generated by the on-grid inverter to charge the battery. This is when there is grid. So the inverter will consider the grid tie inverter and hybrid inverter as a whole system and check the totally export power to charge the battery. This is the first amazing thing. And the second thing is that if the power, the grid is not there, there is load shedding, and we will find it. And since the on-grid inverter is connected to our generator interface, then our inverter will simulate grid voltage. And so grid tie inverter will also consider, oh, there is still grid, so it will still working, because as you know, as a traditional grid tie inverter, there is no grid, it has to stop working, so it's a waste of your solar panel, your solar energy. And after you add a 10 kilowatt hybrid inverter here, even if there is no grid, since it's connected to the generator report, it will consider there is still grid. So it will have power to our generator interface. And then our inverter will use this power to take load. And if the load is, for example, 5 kilowatt, and the grid tie inverter is generating 10 kilowatt, so the extra 5 kilowatt can still use to charge the battery. So this is a big advantage to add a hybrid inverter into the grid tie inverter, which will help to keep the on-grid tie inverter working even if there is no grid. And also, if you only buy our AC coupled to handle this, you cannot add the panel. So this is also a good solution to add solar panel, because before, for example, if you install a 10 kilowatt here, and you still have space on your roof, and you want to add more solar, so you can use our hybrid inverter to add solar here, and you extend your energy storage power for your home. So it's a really fantastic solution for the on-grid system, to retrofit the on-grid system. And so the installation is very easy. And we have also a video here. You can visit our video on YouTube to introduce the AC coupling function. And this is an on-grid system. You connect the on-grid system to the generator interface. And on our LCD, you need to go to the advanced page to enable the AC coupling function. And also there will be some other settings in the charge page. And you can enable AC coupling, and you can also set the AC coupling SOC. It's like when, for example, in off-grid mode, your battery is full and you still have a lot of energy. There is no way to go. You can disconnect the grid tie inverter there to avoid overcharge the battery. So it's very easy to use this function. You can check the LCD and do some settings to protect your battery. And also smart load function is a new function. Also, this is a function you can manage your heavy load. It's like, for example, in the daytime, you have very big solar, you have very big power. You can use the power to power your geyser, to charge your car. However, when at night, you may have load shedding and you still need to use power for some important load, and you do not want to use your battery power to discharge for the geysers or to charge the car, right? So at this situation, you can connect your heavy load to the generator port and enable smart load function. In this function, it's like we will only turn on this load when the solar power, you can see in the next page, there is, for the smart load control, you need to set start PV power and smart load start voltage. This means the battery voltage or battery SOC depends what you set at the first page. You need to control your battery by SOC or by voltage. So when you, for example, you set 5 kilowatt here, only when the solar power is higher than 5 kilowatt and the battery voltage is bigger than your setting, the load on the generator port, we call it smart load, will be turned on. Otherwise, the load will be off. And there is another setting is on grid always on, because sometimes we only want to use this function to save the battery for off-grid mode. So if there is on-grid, we do not care. Then you can enable the on-grid always on function. This is a smart load function. It's used to avoid the heavy load, use the power of the battery when the power is not enough. So keep the power for the important loads. Then parallel function. We already have some installations for parallel in South Africa. And so we have some documents for details guidance. If you want, we can send you. You can ask in the group. And for now, we can parallel to 6 units. And if you can keep each battery connect to same solar power, we can also support you to connect a separate battery group. But if your solar power is not same, for example, this for inverter 1, you have 5 kilowatt solar power, and inverter 2, you have 10 kilowatt. Then they may charge the battery at same level, at different level. And however, when discharged at off-grid mode, it will share the loads, which will cause some inverter shut down first. So we suggest you to make a big battery bank if your inverter's solar power is not same. And if you can keep the solar power almost the same, you can connect the inverter to a separate battery bank, which is a huge advantage when you connect a lot of battery, because the current of the battery is very large. Also, since we are using wireless control of paralleling, we do not have limitation for any length of cable, because as I know, for some other bronze unit, if you want to use a parallel function, you have to use the exactly same length of the cable. For example, the AC cable, the battery cable. However, for our unit, we do not require that. Also, for the XP 10 kilowatt, you need to set a master in the LCD by LCD to set one inverter to master. And you can see on the LCD, you can see how many units are in the system running. So you can have an idea that if your installation is right. For example, in this picture, you install 3 inverters. So in the LCD, you will have a message on the right button. There are how many inverters there, and which one is master and which one is slave. It's very clear. Then recently we are developing the battery monitoring, because as you know that for the whole system, it's very important to know not only the solar power, the charge discharge power. Sometimes we want to know if the battery is still healthy, and what is the battery status of each. For example, you install a 5 kilowatt hour battery pack, you install 4 pieces, which is totally 20 kilowatt hour. And normally, before, you can only get total data for the total discharge current, the charge current, and the voltage and SOC. However, with our monitoring and with Hina battery, you can get each sub battery situation, the voltage, the current, and the capacity. So you can know everything very clear to also to judge if your battery are still at a good working status. Also, we are able to remote update the BMS firmware for some batteries. For example, we are able to remote update the HENA battery and the parent battery. So if we found the battery manufacturer found anything need to update, you do not need to go to the site to update. You can update it from our monitor system. So everything is remotely to make your work more efficient. So that's the functions for the 10 kilowatt. And I mentioned as in future, we will release more functions. The load shedding protection is what we are trying to do is to get your area and get the load shedding time. Before the load shedding, we will help you to charge your battery to certain SOC. For example, you can set in our system how much you want to charge before load shedding, and then because every day the load shedding time is different. So if you are using AC charge or even if you use charge priority, if the weather is not good, you may need to change the setting by manually. So with this function, you do not need to do that manually. We will help you to charge your battery before load shedding. So you do not need to worry about it when you work at work. Oh, there is after raining days, or there is no power in the battery. And this is what we are going to release very soon. And for this, if you have any suggestions or any ideas, we can discuss later after the last one. I want to discuss is also, as I mentioned, we want to release a 1 key fast charge. You do not need to set the charge time. You only need to set the SOC you want to charge, and then we will charge maybe to your SOC, or just when you click once we will charge 1 hour to your battery. And also when last time when I have training, we release a weather charge function for UK market, which is we will get your weather next day and to see if we need to charge at midnight to make sure you will have the power in your battery for the second day. So actually, Luxpower is improving our product and release based on our strong hardware. We will release excellent and different software function, release different functions to you to make you very convenient for our installers, to our end users to use our inverter. So if you have any good idea for improve our product and have any functions you want to have, you can also send us your idea, send a message to us. We are very happy to hear from you. And that's all for the training part. And then if you want, we can have some discussion for the topic I just mentioned, also for some new functions you want to have. Thank you. To You can set 12 and 23 for the time, and you can set one. Do you mean 100% to battery full? The time is you can set here AC charge. Yes, you can. For example, here you can set 11 and 00. There is 23 and 00. Enable AC charge, and the SOC is you want to charge, for example, 100%. You want to, then you can set 100 here. And the kilowatt depends on your home load. I think if you always have a very big home load, then you can have that is long AC is 19 amps. We need to check the relay for the from grid side to the inverter, so we can need to calculate if you need to. It's similar to generator report generator interface. Make sure the AC charge power and the load on the EPS terminal will not totally overload. Let's see if you have more questions. So if you do not have any questions, you can leave, and you can also leave our sales mail your company information to get the credit, and we hope to give our gifts in the end of this year before Christmas. As our test, if the generator size is bigger than 6 kilowatts, then it is okay. Do not have to bigger than 10 kilowatts. Because actually, you know that different generator have different behavior. For the very old type generator, the output is very dirty, and as the frequency change a lot. So big power will help. And for new generator, we used to test in America for 6 kilowatt. It is okay, no problem. For AC charge volts, the battery volts. It's like here you can see it's like you can control the charge by SOC or by voltage. If you choose use battery voltage, and then it will stop AC charge. For example, if you set 54 volts, then when the battery reach 15 volts, it will stop using AC to charge the battery. This means the battery voltage you want to stop at when you reach, then stop AC charge. Okay. See if you have more questions, and yes, I think Miao Miao will share the document in the group. Okay. I think maybe Miao Miao can have the forecast for next training, and we can finish the training, the technical talk. Miao Miao.
Yes. Please, installers just left message to me to enroll the credits today. I saw your message. Please, can you message me in WhatsApp group or private message me so I can record one by one, and I will share the documents today in the groups shortly. I have also recorded the training today. I will upload to YouTube channel, and next training is gonna be about 12 kilowatts. So 2 weeks later we can go about the 12 kilowatt. And if you have any questions about the coming training for the 12 kilo, then you can leave message all the questions to me. We will prepare according to that. So let's call it today. Let's call it today for the training, and then we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Have a good day. Thank you. Bye.